Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
Hello, and welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips, and this is our final episode in the My Valentine series. In episode 1, we talked about self-love, softening the inner critic and making love feel safer. In episode 2, we focused on physical self-love, making peace with your body and rebuilding trust. In episode 3, we turned outward, connection with other people, and the courage to take the first step. And today, we expand love even further into love for the earth, nature, and the living world around you. Your home environment, your plants, your yard or garden, your neighborhood, your local park, the forests, the oceans, and the animals. This isn't about saving the world. It's about honoring what's right in front of you. Because your surroundings affect you every day. And when you bring care to nature, nature gives something back. Steadiness, grounding, clarity, and a sense of connection that many people are craving right now. So today's question is simple. What's one small thing you can do to bring more love and life to the natural world around you? So let's start here. Why does this matter to your daily life? Because nature is regulating. It creates balance. Even small contact with living things can change your state. Your breathing slows, your mind quiets, your mood steadies, your body feels less on alert. It gives you a sense of purpose that isn't tied to proving yourself. It's not performance, it's relationship. A lot of people are exhausted from constant mental stimulation, screens, news, stress, deadlines. Nature brings you back to something real and rhythmic, something older than your to-do list. So when I say love nature, I'm not talking about something abstract. I'm talking about something practical. Love nature to support your nervous system, your mood, and your sense of connection. So here's the theme I want to weave through this whole episode. Attention is a form of love. What you pay attention to grows. What you ignore tends to decline. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. Nature responds to attention and care. Your environment responds too. A neglected corner of your home or yard can carry a heavy feeling. And when you uplift it, clean it, tend it, it brightens it. The whole space often feels lighter. So even if you're not an outdoors person, you can still practice love of nature by starting right where you live. Let's begin with the simplest thing, a houseplant. A houseplant is a living being in your space. It's not just decor. It's a relationship, and it gives you a tiny daily opportunity to practice without pressure. So here's a simple practice you can do today. Look at the plant. Really look. Remove any dead leaves. Maybe wipe the dust off the leaves. Maybe turn it toward the sunlight. Water it if needed. Say thank you for being here. There's a gentleman named Masaru Emoto that proved that paying attention to things in a positive way makes them more vibrant. He had an experiment in Japan where people had 2 bowls of rice, and one they said thank you to and I love you when they walked in the door, the other ignored. The ignored rice bowl became moldy. The one that was thanked stayed edible for quite a long way. So say thank you to the plants and the things around you. It may sound funny to people, but I'll say it. Gratitude changes the energy of a space. When you treat living things with respect, even your food, your space feels more alive. And here's the personal benefit. When you do something small and kind for something living, it subtly trains your system toward care. It's a form of self-support too, because you're living in the environment you're tending. So now let's expand to the next string out. Your yard, your garden, your porch, your patio, whatever you have access to. A lot of people have one area they avoid: a dead-looking planter, weeds they feel guilty about, a pile of leaves, a corner that just feels off, or an area that's just neglected. I'm not asking you to landscape your whole life. I'm asking you to choose one small improvement, like pull weeds for 5 minutes, or trim a bush, or water one area, or clear the clutter from one corner of your yard. Put fresh soil in a pot, plant an herb, plant a tree if you're inspired and able to do it. And when you restore a neglected space, you'll often feel something emotional because you'll get a lift. Neglected spaces can hold neglected feelings. And again, this isn't about being perfect. It's about sending a message internally and externally that this place matters. So let's do a quick 60-second check-in that you can do anywhere, in your home, outside, or even on a walk. So if you're looking at this as a replay, you can slow this down. I'm going to go through it fairly quickly right now. But when you're on your walk or at home, just take a moment to pause and take one slower breath. And look around and ask, what's one thing here that's alive? Just notice. And then ask, what's one small act of care I can offer? This takes you from passive living to connected. So I have a quick commercial here that because it's February, it's the month of love. If you do want a deeper connection to things, and it'll help you feel grounded, you may have, and you're not feeling grounded, you may have what's called a heart wall, trapped emotions around the heart that formed for your protection. The problem is that same wall can block real closeness in receiving love. When the heart wall is released, emotional hits often move through faster, so they don't linger for days in your body or your mood. If you're curious about heart wall removal, you can visit janecphillips.com to learn more. And now let's get back to our message for today. We're now going to move outward into the community. So this is all about connection. How can you be more connected to the world around you? So if you want a powerful way to feel connected to life and to people, try supporting a shared outdoor space. It might be a local park or a trail or a river walk, maybe a beach or a green belt, or a neighborhood corner where trash collects. This is where love becomes more visible. Sometimes the simplest act is picking up trash for 10 minutes. It's not glamorous, but it changes a place and it changes you. So I happen to have a love for picking up trash. So I'm going to tell you my story of what I did with a local park in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live. So there was a park that was a couple blocks from my house, and we do have homeless people here. And I was walking in February. It's not as cold here as other parts. I was walking in February, and I noticed a sleeping bag by the side of the trail as I was walking into the park. And so I thought, well, I better leave that because someone who's homeless might need it. But after a week of walking by that sleeping bag, I was getting more and more irritated. And I realized that this person probably wasn't going to come back and get it. So I picked it up and I brought it home and I recycled it. So what started with that sleeping bag turned into me going into the park several days a week with my dog with a plastic trash bag, and I started picking up trash. I got the flat screen TV out on my own, but I couldn't get the windshield out. It was a broken windshield. And so I called the Park Service and asked for some help. And they came, and I had them deal with that piece of the windshield. I had them remove a rug that was somewhere in there. I had them remove something from the arroyo that was there, a shopping cart in the arroyo. And they left. But before they left, I said, "Why is this park not being maintained?" And they said, "Well, it's no man's land. The regular park that's all grassed and with play area for the children is what we're maintaining, but the places around this, the houses and the apartments, don't want us to mess with it." So we had overgrown areas and all of that. So there was somebody else that was also working with the park, but she was really disgusted because people were still throwing trash and she was tired of picking up after them. On the other hand, what happened with me, because I don't mind picking up trash, and a lot of times the weather was nice, so my dog got to mess around in the park for a couple hours while I did this, and I got to make a difference. So after 1 year, things were much better. The Park Service was not interested in the park. After 2 years, I was still doing it, and we were getting pretty darn clean. And I was still picking up, and now I'm walking. There's an arroyo, which is a runoff river bed. It's not really a river, it's from the mountains. And so I finally was walking that small arroyo and picking up things in it. And still no Park Service. And then I was pretty much done, and I was noticing that people were starting to come in with their children and their strollers. Now, this was not a pathed park that was paved. It was all dirt, but people were starting to come in. And I even went under some of the trees and where the homeless were holding their sleeping over or just drinking and all of that. And I got brave and I went under and cleaned up all of their cardboard that they would sit on and started dealing with that too. Still no effect from the Park Service. And I was feeling pretty good because things were better. And I came in one day and someone had dumped a whole bunch of hay or straw almost in the arroyo, part in, part out, that I was just upset by. I mean, just why would you do that? But they did. And me being me, I went back with more bags and got 9 bags of straw packed up. And a friend of mine came to help me move it. Now, what happens in New Mexico is they won't clean up the arroyos. So my 9 bags of trash, of straw, were from the arroyo, but they will pick up things outside, so that I got them to go to the edge of the arroyo and pack everything up. And we got all of that removed. 3 years now have passed, and I come in one day, and the Park Service is in there mowing grass. They put a trash barrel in the middle. They put a poop bag in the middle, and the whole place got picked up. It took me 3 years before this happened, and everyone else would have given up. But luckily for me, I like doing trash, and I still do. And I will pick up the arroyos and open spaces around here. And I usually carry a bag with me to do that. So this little bit of contribution that I didn't do with a group, but I was connected to the park, was an important contribution. And I found out after I moved out of the area and actually left the state for a bit, that people were commenting to others, and it came back to me that they were wondering where that lady was who picked up the park for them. But what happened is that I was able to be ahead of the trash that was being thrown because there wasn't visible trash. I was getting hold of it and taking care of it right away and calling the Park Service. So at one point, the homeless people brought in a whole set of wicker table and chairs, and that was out within a day because I was on it. So I'm just encouraging, it might not be your thing is trash, but paying attention to your environment and doing something that helps is not only helpful for you. For me, it was outdoors, and my dog had lovely mess around time. So I'm just offering, even if it's a small bit, it makes a difference. So let's talk about another form of nature that love for nature that changes. And this is about supporting animals. So animals carry life force. They're sensitive, they respond to presence. If you've ever spent time with your dog or a cat, or a friend of mine is working with a donkey rescue, you can feel your heart soften. And there's a reason. Your nervous system is responding to a different kind of communication. It's nonverbal, it's honest, it's non-judgmental, and it's present moment. And so here's some ways that you can look at being connected in a loving way with nature. So if this appeals to you, you can volunteer at the animal shelter, or a friend of mine is supporting a rescue ranch. You can help with animal rescues. There's wolf and wildlife rehabilitation support. There are community pet adoption events you might participate in, or just simply donating supplies to your local shelter, or walking dogs or socializing an animal like a dog or a cat. It's not only good for the animal, it's good for you. And if this is something that appeals to you, it's going to help reduce stress, it brings purpose to your life, and it builds connection. So I have a friend of mine, she's in a different state, and she decided after she retired that she wanted to work at the local zoo. And so she is kind of like a docent. And people who are visiting the zoo, she can show them the exhibits and talk about the animals there. And she does this once a week, and it really feeds her soul. And she likes it. She's learned about all sorts of animals and their habitats that she didn't know about. And it really benefits her. And she's also getting a lot of exercise. She ends up sometimes walking 4 miles a day. And at first, it was creating a little bit of physical problems, which I do energy clearing and medical intuitive work. So we worked on that, and that is gone. So now she's able to enjoy her work there. She was thinking she maybe had to do secretarial type of work for the zoo, which you can, but it gives her an emotional hit that's positive. And I'm really admiring that she's putting herself out this way. And she's also somebody that likes to visit the wolf sanctuaries when she travels. So sometimes we think love has to be complicated, but animals make it simple. And we're not asking that you do a lot, but if there's something that appeals to you, animals just are dogs and cats. They just ask for us to be present, to be aware of them, to respond. And animals remind you that love is something you practice through attention and consistency. So let's get creative for a moment, because everyone's version of nature's love looks different. So what would feel fun and rewarding to you, while also helping life around you? So some other ideas: you could join a community garden, and maybe you already have, or perhaps join a hiking or walking meetup group, so you're getting connection and movement. Or maybe you plant native flowers for pollinators in your yard, or put out water and seed for the birds. Maybe you learn one simple compost habit, or volunteer for a park cleanup once a month. You can also help at a rescue ranch for an afternoon. This doesn't have to be ongoing and long. Or support tree planting events. One of my friends is an artist, and part of her money goes to plant a tree, and has done this with many times. I think she said she's planted about 1,000 trees with her donations. You could help a neighbor who's feeling overwhelmed with their yard cleanup, or pick one neglected spot in your neighborhood and uplift it. The point isn't to do them all. It's to pick up one to pick one that feels like, yes, I can actually do this. And it might be going back to just trimming your plant and watering it. Because the best act of love is the one you repeat. So as we close this month, my Valentine series, I want to leave you with something simple and empowering. You don't have to save the world to be a part of healing it. You just have to love what's near you. Love a plant, love your yard, love your local park, love the animals, the trees, the earth, right where you live. Because what you care for, you connect with. And what you connect with supports you back emotionally, physically, and energetically. So here's your takeaway question. What's one small thing you can do this week to uplift the natural world around you and give love there and uplift yourself in the process? So thank you for spending time with me today on Release Your Potential Now with Jane. Next week, as we go into March, we're going to be dealing with the concept of in like a lamb, out like a lion, because the month of April after that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of momentum going on. So March is going to be the time to get yourself ready for the fire that's coming ahead. So I'd love you to share this with someone who needs a little bit more love and steadiness in their life. And until next time, be my Valentine to yourself, to others, and to the world that holds you. I'm Jane Phillips.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy wisdom and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.